Hello everyone, for one third and final time. This is Chad Weibel with the third screencast on the media manipulation tool. For this project, I chose to look at a program called Filmora, which is a free online tool that you can download. I did not come across this through our particular course. It was not one of the ones listed. However, it was recommended by a online tool of best 5 audio manipulators. So I decided that I'd give it a look. In here, you can see that there are two main modes of changing and manipulating movies that you have, aside from these two mini modes that I'm going to be ignoring for the purposes of this. In regards to the action cam tool, this is a mode that's pretty useless for most of what it is that I want to do. It basically revolves around adding a filter to some movie that you have already created. So if you have if you took a film of someone sledding down a hill or skateboarding or just someone talking for a while, this would allow you to add a filter or various effects to various parts of it. Not terribly useful. For this purposes, I'm going to be using the full feature mode, which you can see here as a set of this whole list of various things that you can do. Now, this has a look at some of the videos that I have, and if I want to manipulate something, what I do is I drag that something from here and I place it down here. Now here, for the purposes of this, I have chosen something called recording number 5. This is what I automatically saved at for the screencast of my first look at the GIMP. So what you are now looking at is a screencast of myself editing a screencast. How very meta. Now, in Audacity, I also took this track and I cleaned it up a little bit. And because I cleaned it up a bit, this one here is actually the old track, the one that I do not want to use. So what I'm going to do is I am going to detach the audio and I'm going to remove it for this. And if I want to then add a new audio, I can there it is, import. I can import a media file from the desktop. There it is, mini art soundtrack. And I can pull in this one at the same location. So if I press play, Hello everyone, this is Chad Weibel, and for my first screencast I will be reviewing the Still Media Manipulator. Alright, awesome. It looks like this is definitely the cleaned up version that I have. Now, one of the things that you guys might notice is that this is not properly lined up with the beginning of my actual video recording, which is something that can happen. Because I want this one to line up perfectly, after all, this was originally pulled from my first video before I cleaned it up in Audacity. I want it to be lined up with that beginning because I did not speed it up, I did not change the tempo, and I did not alter the length in any way, nor cut off the beginning or ends. So for this, I do want it lined up, but just so right now, I could actually export this immediately, and this is basically what I'm going to be uploading for my first screencast. So, where is... Right? So if I want to export this, I can basically say that I'm going to make a .mov file, and I'm just going to export that while that goes on in the background. Now, this is one of the things that I do not like about this. Every time you try to do anything, this screen will pop up in order to say that you are not registered. And if you're going to register, it means that you have to actually buy the official software. So it does allow you to just say continue and ignore it, but it pops up often enough that it is kind of an annoying feature. Overall, for usability, I think that the usability is something that is... you're not going to be able to see anything in the background while this is going on. That's okay. The usability is something that is tricky to figure out anything more advanced than some simple basics, such as, for instance, what you saw me do in there, splitting it apart, moving things around. You can also zoom in Actually, you know what? I'm just going to fast forward past this part. All right, back on track. So now that that's done, we can continue going on. Now, in regards to this, right, now you notice that that just suddenly jumped ahead. The way that I did that is actually also with Filmora. So the way that you can do something like that is you can do something along the lines of, oops, hello? Yes? Is this back on? Hi guys, sorry about that, technical difficulties. It turns out that the screencast will only allow me to record 15 minutes at a time. So while I was fast forwarding, a lot of time happened, which wasted pretty much all of that excess time, which I was not expecting. On the plus side, this does mean that I can now actually use my track for this course in order to... Why is this so short? Oh, because I'm so zoomed out. I can actually use this this literal video in showing you how to use Filmora. So you can actually see right along here, this is all of that stuff that I was talking about before that loading bar happened. And you can see this whole region where I'm basically not talking, and instead I'm just waiting for this to slowly fill through, waiting. Now, I want to edit that out. In fact, I already have. But the way that I did so is what you guys can see right here. So this is me editing out the video that you actually see right here. That's right, guys, I am using Filmora to edit a screencast about editing screencasts with Filmora. Anyway, the way that you go about doing this is this little tracker here basically tells you what point of the video that you're on. So if I want to go and say this part here is that stuff that I do not want, then hold on a moment, I need to, there we go. Right, all of that stuff is excess that I do not care about, right? Look at all that nonsense. So, hold on, that's me zooming in, not moving over. No wonder there was so much. Sorry, here's the bar. All right. And all of this right up until that moment where you heard me snap. Let's see if we can find that exact moment. All right, there it was. So let's zoom in so that we can get that exact moment. And right before that is where I will split this again. Right, split. And now that I have this split into 3 segments, I can do all sorts of things with these 3 segments, such as reorganizing where they are, or in this case, flat out deleting the part that I don't want. And now what I have is something that should... Actually, you know what? I'm just going to fast forward past this part. Alright, back on track. And there you have it. I have effectively just taken out this entire clip that I did not want. Now you can also see here there's a bunch of other muddled stuff while I figure out what's going on. I will take a look at that in more detail after this screencast is finished, but in the meanwhile, another nifty thing that you can do, which you guys will see shortly, is something called filters, and in my case, transitions. So this might look a little bit familiar to you where I have this thing right here. So let's use the transition between here and here where I can say I'm going to add this to, oh, it's too far zoomed out, I can't see it, right there. Right, and I want that to be right across the middle, so bam. And there you have it. That's how I did that transition, and the other one right in the middle of technical difficulties. Now, overall, I would say that by using this to edit itself, I actually ended up learning quite a few things more that I didn't know at the start of this screencast, which is pretty neat overall. I think that overall, I would rate this good for having free use, not so good for continually pushing the option to buy a license, and not so great for being able to figure out how to use it in the first place. But once you get the hang of it, this can be a really useful tool. I hope you guys enjoy watching this, and I hope that you guys enjoyed reviewing your own media tools. I'll catch you later in class.